God gave us a mind of our own. He gave us the ability to reason. And your vote doesn't count. The electorate is who's going to put them in office. They've already been given direction as to who will be the next president, and it's done behind closed doors. It's not done in open public. But there is a method to the madness, and part of that method is the introduction in this election, for the first time since I've been alive, that an open communist, professing to be a communist, a socialist, is running for president. And I had the displeasure of my oldest granddaughter engaging me in a conversation this weekend who told me she would support Bernie Sanders. Wow. You can only imagine what that did to my mind. My beautiful baby girl, 17 years old, she'll be 18 in May. She'll be ready to vote when it comes time. Told me she would give support to Bernie because he's a nice guy. I was gobsmacked. I was angry. I didn't display my anger with her, but inside I was angry. And I tried to give her some true direction or factual information as to just how dangerous Bernie Sanders is, how ignorant Bernie Sanders is, without being offensive or attacking. Because you have to remember, she likes Bernie. She likes Bernie and what he stands for. And this is the end result of the induction of your children in school. We have federal government executing American citizens. Lavoy was murdered. If you haven't forgotten, our bikers were murdered in Waco. If you haven't forgotten, Ruby Ridge, once again, murders by your own government. To claim democracy is very dangerous. Understand, democracy, Democrat, democracy, communism, socialism. Democracy is one of those deceptive words that we've been taught throughout our lives is a good thing. In fact, it's not a good thing. Bring back a republic. Bring back a nation that the people are truly the voice of government. Let's bring back the foundation of a godly country that adheres to in its government, that is hired by the people. Vote is a bad word. Voting is a bad word in my opinion. It's one of those deceptions. Let's because we hire them. That's what we do by popularity or popular determination based on their mission statement. We hire them. We hire them because we pay their salary. We should not be governed over, but we should be served by these individuals. And they need to be held accountable. They need to be supervised. That's our job, is to supervise the employee that we put in that position based on their ability to perform in those duties, in that placement. It's contract. It's a labor contract. And what we've done is we've given all that up, and we haven't been taught that in fact, if you want to break government down and you just want to put everything in layman, I'm their boss, you're their boss, we pay their salary, we're their supervisors, we're supposed to see what they're doing, and if we're in disagreement, we fire them. We don't vote them out. Voting is a farce. It's a farce. We have choices when we hire somebody. And if they're not a good fit, we don't hire them. Changing the verbiage is very important. Changing the verbiage doesn't change reality. It's like Obama aiding and abetting the enemy, infiltrating the country, imposition of war by invasion with purpose to bring harm to the people and the economy, to remove prosperity, to put us in danger, to expose us to diseases and criminal elements, and then binding our hands that we can't fight back against what is unjust, and then calling it amnesty by executive order doesn't change the fact that it is what it is, just because he decided that he's a dictator and a king and he can rule with an iron fist and he calls it amnesty. It's not amnesty. It's war by invasion. And they call it a humanitarian crisis so that the stupid people who are sheeple that love Obama, and I said it, they're stupid, they're ignorant, will go, oh, those poor people. And they become very accepting. They paint it, they use verbiage, they use the media, and they paint it so that it is accepted. And that's what's happening in Common Core today, is they're teaching our children to be tolerant of the religion, which is actually not a religion, it's a cult. It's a political ideology, it's a militant ideology, and it's called Islam. And it's about world domination. And we can't sit back and allow this anymore. We're a divided nation. We're divided on so many levels, and the politicians use those PowerPoints to manipulate the minds of the masses so that they'll go, yeah, vote Cruz, vote Rubio, vote Trump. His mission statement is what I'm for. They know what we're about. They know what we think. They watch us on social media. We're a controlled people. And they laugh at you. They laugh at you while they murder your family members. They'll laugh at you while they murder you. And they are murdering and killing people every day in this country by many different elements that are being used against people, from poisoning us to exposing us to criminal elements. And the enemies of America, they're bringing them in by the bus, truck, train, and plane load every day, and carload. So, I had a dream. And in a perfect world, in this dream, which was a perfect world in my mind, obviously, because it was my dream, I was running for president. Not that I want to. I wouldn't want the job. It's going to take somebody who's far more intelligent than I am and has a bigger spine than I do, because we're in a mess. But in my dream, in my sleep state, I was president. And as president, the first order of duty I did was I had a team of individuals that the elite was unaware of, did not know of. And in a very secret place, we met. And these were men of thousands and thousands. And by my direction, they went in and they arrested every communist, every socialist, from medical to education to municipalities to federal agencies to Congress to corporations. That was their job as mercenaries. Go take them out. Get them out of society. Get them out of the system. And we called communism and socialism and Islam illegal in America. And we took all the provisions away from the foreign invaders and gave them 72 hours to exit the borders, or they would be held as enemy combatants. And we took away the businesses that have been handed to the Muslims through shady trade deals and treaties. And we took away all foreign aid from every country. And we pulled out of every war. And we built up our military. And we pulled out of the UN and instructed the UN to exit America. And all of the land that had been taken by the government was given back to the people. And all of the foreign interests that think they own property and resources and minerals in America were told no. And all the fiat debt that was created by greedy bastards who have become millionaires and billionaires was taken back and their assets were frozen. And we pulled out of the false debt. And we pulled out of the wars that are being created. We pulled out of the refugee programs that are actually invasions. And we sent all the refugees back that were brought here illegally. We put them on planes, we put them on ships, and we moved them out of the country. And we erased the minority button. And we cleaned up the streets, and those mercenaries went in and took the gangs out. And we had an island, much like Guantanamo Bay. Only this island was full of gangbangers and saggy pant wearing, disrespecting youth who wreak havoc on society, who commit violent crimes. And we put them on the island and told them they would never have outside communication with any family member again. They had to grow their own food. They had no electricity. They had running water. And they had plumbing. They had seed. And they had tools and the ability to grow their own food. To live as people did, as the Amish do today. To work together and learn to assimilate with one another or kill each other. We really didn't care. They were a menace on society, and they were a menace that needed to be removed, and an example needed to be made so that future generations did not go in that direction. We sealed the border, and we used deadly force against the cartels that our government is married to. We cut off all their funding and their ability to move in and out of this country and to induce addiction and all the crime that comes with it on our population. And we stood up against the world in a way that said, don't mess with us. We're not bothering you. We don't need you. Stay away. We got rid of the Common Core curriculum. We got rid of the division. The minority button was no more, and the welfare programs slowly but surely became extinct because every man, woman, and child had the opportunity to provide for their own. Neighbors began to help neighbors, and they did it with love, where we came together as a nation, as a people, and realized that we're all brothers and sisters. And English was the national language. And Islam was eradicated from the soil. And anybody who opposed living in such a world were given the opportunity to leave the country, renounce their citizenship, and we with pleasure gave them a one-way ticket out of the country with no re-entry. What a beautiful world it would be if we could live in such a manner. Once again, walk among one another without hatred in our heart, anger, and without looking over our shoulder every time we walk out our front door, waiting to be attacked by a Black Lives Matter thug or a drug addict or a society run amok with no morals. We held all of media personnel accountable for being the tool that helped aid and abet the treason, the espionage on the people in this country. We removed the demons in government that call themselves our friends, that we pay to initiate our own demise. What a perfect world. And if I were president in that dream, that would be the world that we would exist in. And then I woke up and I had a cup of coffee Because the reality today is all those elements that I dreamt that we eradicated in my dream, it wasn't done with a strong arm of violence. It was done with a strong arm of removal, and it was done lawfully. And they were held to the highest extreme punishment according to their crimes. As we all know, Congress is the only one who can determine whether the act of treason is punishable by life or is it punishable by death. And they are in fact trying to change that as well to a no death penalty. We have snakes and shields and feds among us in this social media network, and we need to remove ourselves from it. It is a psyop operation. It's a tool of control. They're making billions off of us. They're abusing us with it, and they're using that tool to kill us and incarcerate us. So we really, really need to reconsider social networking and get back to the good old days where we met each other face to face. Our word was our handshake, and we had morals and values and integrity. And we need to get back to those face-to-face meetings and get together, and we need to come up with a solution for the issues that we're facing today. But one thing I do know is we can no longer sit back and watch the government kill innocent people, murder innocent people, the citizens. That's what Hitler did. And we can't sit back and watch that any longer. Lavoie and others who have been killed in this past year by this government, that cannot go unanswered. A badge or direction by dictatorship and power. Governor Brown needs to be held accountable. She needs to be removed. She needs to be put in jail as an accessory to murder. And she needs to be punished accordingly. Obama and Loretta Lynch need to be punished accordingly. That sheriff, Ward, needs to be punished accordingly. And all agents or mercenaries that were involved in that ambush need to be punished accordingly. They are all guilty of accessory to murder. And they should all get the death penalty, in my opinion. Because certainly, had I done that, I'd get the death penalty. And they're not above the law. While we weren't paying attention, we had a lot of things going on. We had 12 military killed by Turkey, who we give billions of dollars to in aid. It's gone unanswered. Russia offered to go out and help find those dead bodies on the recovery mission. They were rebuked. I'm sure that was per Obama. We're holding hands with Turkey, and Turkey's killing our soldiers. That's another thing that these politicians do. These dictators, these people that are being placed around the globe in what they call a democratic government for the first time. A democratic government. Democratic government. You know, that's a pretty good indication to me that they are now a part of the controlled population, and that is an agent of the oligarchy that's taken place in government to rule over the people and to destroy nations, to enslave people, to extort from people. And they use this trade agreement as a tool or a premise of validation for the illegal treaties and laws that are being implemented around the world. And only a few benefit from it. The rest of us are the victims of. They create wars and fund both sides of the war. If they cannot keep chaos and wars going, then the people wouldn't be distracted. And they would see with open eyes what is going on with governments. So I had a dream. And it sure wasn't a dream like the dream that Martin Luther King had. It was a different dream. Many of the same things I'm sure that he spoke about were encased in that dream, like equality, true equality, not privileged blacks who claim white privilege when whites have no privilege. Not reparations for blacks when whites have never been delivered for slavery and we continue to be beaten and flogged by a lie that has been used as a tool to divide and to give the genetically imperfect balance race privilege over others and open door invitations by the government to kill other races based on the hatred based on a lie. So I'm not going to apologize for being white or American Indian. I'm not going to apologize for my black family members or my Mexican family members or my Korean or Vietnamese family members, all of which we have, either by marriage or adoption. Not going to apologize to any black person for anything that they think I owe them. Not going to give you any reparations because you've had everything and you keep demanding more. It's never going to be enough. I don't owe you anything. You never suffered a day of slavery. You're not underprivileged or overprivileged. Whites are being denied while you're being given everything. They're taking the toys away from the babies and giving them to the crying babies who have everything, the spoiled children, which is the black population. Whites are demonized and they're flogged and they're beaten, and it's time for us to stand up. And it's time for us to stand up together. There are many black people who are not on that ignorant bandwagon of, oh, my poor mammy and pappy, and I've been so underprivileged, and y'all are keeping a black man down. It's a lie. The only thing that's keeping you down is yourself. Just like if you were white, the only thing that's keeping you down is yourself in reality. Or green or yellow. You know, if we don't come together and stop the oppression, we're the ones keeping ourselves down. We're the ones allowing these things to happen. You can't continue to give. It's give and take. Even in marriage, it's give and take relationship. You might not like what the other one's doing all the time. You might not like them all the time. But you agree to disagree, you fix your problems, you move forward, and you love one another. In spite of it all. You grow together in it and you learn from it. Or you separate. And you go your separate ways. So in a perfect world, that's how it would be. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. Every candidate that is running for president right now that serves in Congress is guilty of misprision of felony, and they're guilty of treason and espionage. You can look it up. Not everybody is eligible that is running, but apparently that doesn't make any difference in America because the sleeper cell that's sitting in our White House acting like a dictator who's stolen trillions of dollars from the American people and killed and murdered, killed, steal, and destroy. Get it? Satan is his controller. He doesn't belong there either, but apparently that didn't make any difference. The Oath Keepers got a message for you, and it's going to piss a lot of you off, but I don't really care. Really don't. You're not doing your job. You're not doing your job, and that was a job that you took. That was an oath that you took. Oath Keeper. You brag about being an Oath Keeper, and it's nothing but lip service. You're bragging about how you took an oath, and that oath meant something to you. That you sacrificed and watched your buddies die for it. But you're not doing anything except a bunch of lip service. You're not coming together. You're not forming leadership. You're certainly not removing tyranny. You're not defending the people against foreign and domestic enemies because they're all over the place and they're in Washington. And you're not doing anything except sitting around pounding your chest. And I appreciate what you've done for this nation. I know that you sacrificed a ton. And I'm certainly not implying that it's your sole responsibility to do what needs to be done. But I will say this. You're the one that keeps saying, I'm an oath keeper. Well, you're not an oath keeper at all. You're not keeping anything in your oath. We have no leadership. You guys were trained to become units. You guys were trained in leadership skills and qualities. You're trained warriors, for God's sake. We're at a disadvantage as citizens in this country that didn't serve in some capacity in law enforcement or the military. But I will promise you this. If you will rise up and keep your oath, like you keep claiming, if you'll rise up together, I'm not saying violently, do anything. Show of numbers speaks volumes. Okay? That's all I'm saying. We can do things lawfully. And you'll have millions of civvies like myself stand with you, willing to die if that's what it took, to remove the tyranny in Washington, to remove the sleeper cell in Washington, to put them in custody, and to do what needs to be done. Don't let words like anarchy, because remember, they create words so it protects them, so that they can use them to their advantage and to oppress the people. It's not anarchy to remove criminal elements. It's anarchy if you try to overthrow a government that's ruling for the people, not over the people. That's serving the people, not causing the people to serve them. If my oath keeper brother and sisters out there, whether your background is law enforcement or military or both, would give us some direction, give us some leadership, give us some numbers, show up. Tell us what to do. Our constitutional lawyers and judges, retired who don't hold bar to the crown, who understand their services to the people and to the law and to justice, will stand up with those law enforcement individuals who are oath keepers and those military individuals who are oath keepers. We can change a nation. We can change the Guard. We can stop the murders. We can stop the influx and the invasion, and we can give them an open exit door to get out of and then seal it shut that they may never return and wreak havoc on this country or drain its financial resources. They won't bring in their diseases. They won't bring in their criminal elements, and they won't be bringing in their trafficking of children and prostitution and murder and all the other things that come with those particular elements that have been imposed on the people against our will. Please stand up. Please. I'm asking you, stand up by the millions. Get your collective poop together. Reach out to the citizens. Take leadership of the militias, because we got a bunch of morons running the militias that are, we just saw a fine example of that in Oregon. We don't need criminals, con-cons, opportunists. People, stop giving your money on GoFundMe accounts to your favorite internet celebrities. Make sure you know where you're putting your money. Conned you out of hundreds of thousands of dollars already. And they're not even doing anything except going and standing and stomping their feet and causing people to get murdered. Please. Be mindful where you're putting your money. It'd be in your best interest to take those funds right now. Start taking care of your own provisions. That little bit of extra money that you have, although I know your heart's in the right place, stop funding a bunch of fools. that don't have your best interests at heart, and they're not even remotely close to being a patriot at all. They're glory whores, con-cons, turning this into some kind of enterprise, and they're shills for the government. Or they've got such an extensive background of criminal activity and convictions that it's mind-boggling. Please, I'm asking the good people, the good oath keepers, the true oath keepers that don't have stolen valor and a list of felonies longer than my arm. They don't have a huge rap sheet. Please step up, be our leadership, give us some direction. Pray for God's discernment and wisdom, and let us know what we need to do, because we're in trouble. And they'll pick us off one at a time. When they killed the Void, they knew that they would create fear back in the people, that the people cannot rise up against the government, against the unlawful extortion and the taking of the property and the lives of people. They did that to shut us up, to instill fear. This is what happens to those who stand up against the government and its foreign interest. We cannot let that needed to create more anger than fear in the hearts of Americans. And not the kind of anger that gets us in a stupid situation, but the kind of anger that gives you determination to remove and to hold those accountable that are doing those things to the human race right here in America. All right, people, it's time for me to go. I've got some things to do. I want you to think about what I just told you. Everything is a controlled operation. Everything is psychological. When you're out here fighting amongst each other and dissolving friendships over candidate choices, and I've seen it happen, think about what's really going on, people. Your vote doesn't count. Electorate's already been told who to vote for. The next president has already been handpicked, and it's not by the American people. Don't let it divide you. Let's get together. Let's unite, and let's start having contact with one another off of social media. Let's break away from that. Stop making Mark Zuckerberg a billionaire and his lineage to come. Please stop. And stop paying your taxes. File exempt. You want to break these bastards? File exempt. There's a shot that needs to be fired. File exempt. Everybody file exempt. What are they going to do? Come after a whole nation? Because when they come, then you can snap their neck for stepping on your property. Stop paying taxes. Stop doing business with Muhammad. Stop doing business with the big corporations. Stock up on your provisions. And let's go ahead and collapse the system and take the money out and the power away from them. Let's go ahead and stop it all. It will stop all foreign aid. It will stop all funding of wars. It will stop all the funding of terrorism. It will stop the paychecks of the fat in Washington that think that they deserve what they're getting and so much more. Just stop it all. We'll break Obamacare's back. Stop it all. The bastard can't come after you with an illegal taxation on because you couldn't afford your medical premiums. He can't come in and steal your damn tax money that direction if you just stop paying your taxes. What's he going to do? What's that sand nigger going to do? What's that piece of shit Muslim, goat-humping, bastard, demon child of a whore going to do? Stop paying your taxes. Break the bastard. He can't go golfing if we break him. Well, I mean, I know they have money of their own that they've stolen. They call their own. They've stolen from the little man and put in their big fat bank accounts. But still, let's break them. Let's break government. We don't care if they can run government. Let's break all of them. They don't mind breaking us. Let's break them. Let's just do it. I'm going to start a campaign across America. Stop paying taxes. Completely stop paying your taxes. Just don't. Just don't. Don't spend your money at Muhammad's store or the major corporations or any foreign-owned business in your city. Don't do it. Let's do that. Watch what happens. we can bring them to their knees. You can kick them in the nuts like that. Man, it'll shatter bones when you do that. Just stop paying taxes. Shuts down the drug cartels. It shuts down the banks. It shuts down everything. Just shut it down. And all you truckers out there, go on strike. Quit moving product. Quit moving product. We could do this in a 3-step process. Everybody that is in our patriot movement, stop paying taxes. First step. Stop doing business, like I said, with all the foreign industries and the corporations and the local stores. Don't do it. And then, as we have stopped paying taxes and we're preparing for our families for the shutdown, and we've stocked up on what we know we're going to need for at least 6 months in provision, let's break the bastards. Let's get the truckers out there and the union workers that are patriots that understand what's going on. Just shut it down. Just shut it down. Don't go to work. Don't go to work. If you don't transport it, it all shuts down. You guys have the power. And then let's just sit back and watch it happen. Stock markets will crash. Banks will go belly up in a matter of days. Governments will fall. Wars will stop because they don't have the money or the weapons or the provisions to provide the munitions. It all stops. Everything will stop. Just like that, boom. It's done. You want to fire a shot that means something? You want to stand up and break their balls? Those 3 things right there will crumble the oligarchy. Just shut it down. It makes everything worthless. Even all the things that they've stockpiled, all the money they stockpiled will be worth nothing. They can't trade it for anything. We break their ass. We crumble their lineage. Y'all think about what I said. Get back to me. Peace, love. I'm out. True Stinger on Rage Against the Regime.